able to extract and sequence a complete genome to understand.
And is immediately able to tell us all about what it is.
What began as a routine scientific expedition in the frozen wilderness of northern Canada soon led to one of the most astonishing discoveries in recent history. Beneath layers of ice, researchers uncovered something so mysterious that it challenged everything they thought they knew. Was it an ancient creature, a lost piece of history, or something even more perplexing? As new details unfold, one thing is clear. This discovery is truly unlike anything seen before. The 57,000-year-old wolf. 4 years ago, in Canada's Yukon Territory, a gold miner blasted through a slab of frozen mud, hoping to strike gold. Instead, he uncovered something far more precious, a 57,000-year-old wolf pup, perfectly preserved in permafrost. Named Jour by the local people, meaning wolf, she was dead but nearly intact, her golden brown fur and sharp teeth frozen in time. Jour wasn't just any wolf, she was the most complete wolf mummy ever found. Her body was so well preserved that scientists could reconstruct her short life. They discovered she was about 6 or 7 weeks old when she died, not from starvation or an attack, but likely trapped in her den when it collapsed. Her teeth revealed she ate mostly fish, unlike modern wolves that hunt large mammals, suggesting her pack lived near water. DNA analysis showed that Jour belonged to an ancient population of grey wolves, ancestors of those in Siberia, Russia, and Alaska. Yet her lineage didn't survive in the Yukon. The first wolves to inhabit the region were eventually replaced by others better suited to the changing environment. Jour's discovery provided a glimpse into an ancient world and a lost lineage of predators. Oldest animal fossils. A groundbreaking discovery in the Mackenzie Mountains of northern Canada may have just rewritten the history of life on Earth. Researchers have found fossilized structures in 890-million-year-old rock formations that could be the remains of ancient sponges, making them the oldest known animal fossils ever discovered. If confirmed, this finding would push back the origins of animal life by about 350 million years, long before the Cambrian explosion, the period scientists previously believed was the dawn of complex organisms. Paleontologist Professor Elizabeth Turner of Laurentian University in Sudbury, Ontario, first spotted these unusual fossils during her PhD fieldwork. After years of analysis, she has identified intricate networks of tiny tubular structures inside the rocks. These structures strongly resemble the remains of modern keratose sponges, which lack a hard skeleton. One of the biggest mysteries surrounding early animal evolution is the oxygen problem. The Neoproterozoic era was a time when oxygen levels on Earth were far lower than they are today. Many scientists believed animals couldn't evolve until oxygen levels significantly increased during the Neoproterozoic oxygenation event. However, this discovery challenges that idea. If these sponges truly existed 890 million years ago, they must have found a way to survive in low oxygen conditions. The phenomenon of the Northern Lights. Imagine standing on a quiet night in the Yukon Territory, surrounded by snow and silence, only to be startled by a glow in the sky. At first, it's a faint shimmer, but then it begins to shift and grow. Ribbons of green light stretching across the sky, joined by hints of red and purple. The Northern Lights, or Aurora Borealis, have arrived. The sky isn't just glowing, it's alive, moving and changing with every passing second. What you see is a natural phenomenon caused by charged particles from the sun colliding with Earth's atmosphere. These particles, known as solar winds, enter Earth's magnetic field and produce the vibrant colors of the auroras. Each color tells a story: green from excited oxygen atoms, red and purple from nitrogen. The result? A light show so mesmerizing that it's hard to take your eyes off it. The Aurora Borealis isn't just a modern wonder, though. For centuries, indigenous peoples like the Inuit have seen these lights as the spirits of ancestors dancing in the sky. These magical displays are also influenced by solar activity, with the most intense light shows happening when solar winds are strongest. In rare cases, these bursts of energy can even push the auroras southward, where they're visible as far down as Miami. But the energy behind these lights isn't all beauty. Powerful currents generated by the auroras can affect satellites, GPS, and power grids. Unexplained sinkholes in the Canadian tundra. In the remote wilderness of Canada's tundra, the ground suddenly cracks open, revealing huge gaping holes where solid earth once stood. This might sound like a natural disaster straight out of a post-apocalyptic film, but it's happening right now and is linked to a hidden threat beneath the surface. These mysterious sinking holes are no coincidence. They result from something much more dangerous than an odd geological event. For years, the Arctic has been a ticking time bomb, with methane gas trapped beneath the permafrost, a layer of frozen soil that's been stable for centuries. But as the world warms, that permafrost layer is starting to thaw. This release of methane gas, a potent greenhouse gas, is building up pressure underground, creating ticking time bombs that could explode at any moment. When the pressure gets too much, the ground spectacularly gives way. These powerful explosions hurl methane, ice, and debris into the air, leaving behind craters up to 30 meters deep and 20 meters wide, and they're becoming more frequent each year. The first of these holes appeared in Siberia in 2013, but they've since been spotted in Canada and other parts of the Arctic. These are no ordinary sinkholes. They're a unique type of explosion driven by a buildup of gas and heat beneath the frozen ground. Not only are these craters dangerous to the people living in these remote regions, but they also threaten oil pipelines, infrastructure, and ecosystems in places that are becoming more vulnerable to these events. Scientists have documented 5 massive craters so far, but many more could be lurking beneath the surface, waiting for the right conditions to explode. The ghost ships of Lake Ontario. In the early hours of August 8, 1813, the peaceful waters of Lake Ontario were shattered by a fierce squall. The USS Hamilton and USS Scourge, 2 US Navy warships, were caught in the storm and, overwhelmed by the violent waves, capsized and sank to the lake's depths. 53 sailors perished with them, their lives lost to the cold, dark waters. These wrecks remained hidden for over 160 years until they were discovered in 1973 by Dr. Daniel Nelson, a Canadian dentist. The ships were found remarkably preserved, with cannons and crossed cutlasses still visible on their decks, an almost perfect snapshot of history, a rarity in shipwreck archaeology. Unlike most wrecks from the era, which leave behind little more than fragments, the Hamilton and Scourge were almost frozen in time. Explorations led by famous underwater adventurers like Jacques Cousteau and Robert Ballard further revealed the wreck's astonishing state. Side-scan sonar and magnetometers used in recent expeditions, like in 2013 by Parks Canada, helped uncover even more about these ghost ships. Yet, a growing problem has emerged. Quagga mussels, an invasive species, have begun covering the wrecks, obstructing visibility and hindering research. Despite these challenges, the Hamilton and Scourge remain a lasting reminder of the War of 1812 and have the potential to become a national treasure. Plans are underway to build life-size replicas of the ships in Hamilton, giving future generations a tangible connection to this piece of history. Unfathomable creatures lurk in the depths of Canada's oceans. Off the coast of British Columbia, in the cold, dark waters of the Pacific seamounts, strange and ghostly creatures are known to thrive. These are not the typical ocean residents you might expect, but eerie beings that could easily haunt the deepest corners of the imagination. During Canada's Northeast Pacific Seamount expedition, a team of scientists, including those from Oceania, Canada, embarked on a mission to explore underwater mountains, uncovering bizarre and never-before-seen life forms. The team spent 16 days aboard the EV Nautilus research vessel, using remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, to dive deep into the ocean. These ROVs navigated the seafloor, collecting species from depths of up to 2,000 meters. They discovered extraordinary creatures, sea stars in vibrant oranges, eerie glass sponges, sea spiders, and countless other unusual marine life. Despite their creepy appearance, these creatures are far from frightening. They are part of a fragile yet resilient ecosystem that requires protection. As of July, 87% of Canada's seamounts seem to have temporary protection, but Oceania Canada is pushing for 100% permanent conservation to preserve these sensitive habitats. These seamounts are essential for maintaining marine biodiversity and ensuring the health of ocean ecosystems. Underwater ice structure. scientists uncovered something astonishing in the icy depths of the Canadian Beaufort Sea, large ice formations hidden beneath the Arctic sea floor. These formations are not ancient remnants of past ice ages, but are actively forming right now. The Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute, MBARI team, discovered a previously unknown process that plays a role in the formation of submarine permafrost ice. But what does this mean for the future of our planet? Researchers first discovered the massive craters scattered across the seafloor. These craters, formed from the thawing of ancient submerged permafrost, were thought to be the remnants of a long-gone ice age. However, during a follow-up expedition, scientists stumbled upon something unexpected: layers of new permafrost ice forming near the seafloor, not frozen leftovers from a distant past. This phenomenon occurs when thawing groundwater from deeper layers rises toward the seafloor and freezes upon contact with the extremely cold ocean floor. The resulting ice formations are complex, ranging from icy mounds to massive sinkholes that reshape the landscape. What's most shocking is that these ice formations are not ancient relics, but are actively forming in real time. The discovery of Nahanni National Park Reserve. Nahanni National Park Reserve, often called the Valley of the Headless Men, is one of Canada's most enigmatic landscapes. It is steeped in legend and history, and its discovery, both literal and historical, is a tale of exploration, Indigenous heritage, and eerie mysteries. European explorers first documented the region in the 18th century when fur traders ventured into the area. Scottish explorer John MacLeod was among the early visitors, navigating the untamed wilderness and mapping parts of the region in the early 19th century. However, it was the Klondike gold rush of the late 19th century that truly put Nahanni on the map. Prospectors hoping to find a shortcut to the Yukon goldfields attempted to navigate the South Nahanni River, but instead of striking it rich, many met untimely and gruesome fates. Despite its eerie history, Nahanni's breathtaking landscapes attracted adventurers, scientists, and journalists. Among them was Calgary geologist Frank M.W. Henderson, who explored the valley in 1946 and later reported that his partner, John Patterson, had vanished without a trace. Henderson described an unsettling atmosphere in the valley, further adding to its ominous allure. The park's modern exploration took a significant turn in the 1960s, when Montreal explorer and parachutist Jean Poirel conducted a series of expeditions. Poirel and his team descended into the valley with inflatable dinghies, a technique never before used in the region. For 4 expeditions, he mapped out more than 250 caverns, including the astonishing Valerie Cavern, which contained 116 Dall sheep skeletons dated to 2500 BC. Poirel's work laid the groundwork for the establishment of Nahanni National Park Reserve, attracting the attention of then Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau, who personally visited the valley in 1972. 4 years later, in 1976, the area was officially designated as a National Park Reserve. In 1978, Nahanni was among the first sites in the world to be inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, recognized for its towering canyons, powerful waterfalls, and untouched wilderness. Mysterious space signal. Astronomers have long been puzzled by fast radio bursts, FRBs, mysterious pulses of energy that flash across the universe in milliseconds. These signals, detected from deep space, often appear randomly, making it nearly impossible to predict when or where they will occur. But now, scientists have uncovered something even more astonishing: a repeating FRB that follows a strict 16-day cycle. The Canadian Hydrogen Intensity Mapping Experiment made this incredible discovery, a powerful radio telescope scanning the night sky. Unlike most FRBs, which emit a single burst or occasionally repeat without a clear pattern, this particular signal displays a precise and predictable rhythm. For 4 days, it releases bursts every hour, then falls silent for 12 days before starting the cycle all over again. This marks the first time a fast radio burst has been observed behaving in such an orderly fashion. The implications are profound. While many FRBs seem to be random cosmic occurrences, the discovery of one with a consistent cycle suggests an underlying structure, raising new questions about their origin. What could be creating such a perfectly timed signal from 500 million light-years away? This discovery highlights how much we have yet to learn about the universe. Whether the source of this repeating signal is a neutron star, a black hole, or something even more unexpected, one thing is certain: our understanding of deep space is only beginning to scratch the surface. If more of these patterns emerge, we may be on the verge of solving one of the greatest cosmic puzzles of our time. The Sasquatch. Sasquatch, Canada's most famous cryptid, has long been associated with the dense forests of British Columbia. The legend originates from indigenous oral traditions, particularly those of the St. Ailes people, who have lived in the Harrison River Valley for over 10,000 years. It refers to a large, hairy, supernatural being that can shapeshift and serve as a guardian of the land. Over time, European settlers adapted this term into Sasquatch, cementing its place in Canadian folklore. Harrison Hot Springs has become a focal point for Sasquatch enthusiasts, with frequent sightings reported in the surrounding forests. The town even hosts a Sasquatch museum, which showcases indigenous perspectives alongside modern investigations into the creature's existence. Some researchers speculate that Sasquatch could be an undiscovered primate, while skeptics argue that it's a mix of folklore and misidentifications. For the St. Ailes people, however, Sasquatch is not just a legend, but a spiritual presence deeply intertwined with their cultural identity. Whether real or mythical, Sasquatch remains an enduring symbol of Canada's vast wilderness and the indigenous knowledge that has shaped its history. The baby woolly mammoth. In the Yukon, Canada, a discovery unlike any other was made when a miner stumbled upon the mummified remains of a baby woolly mammoth, beautifully preserved for over 30,000 years. The mammoth was found by miner Travis Mudry in June 2022, deep within the Klondike goldfields, an area rich with history and resources. The mammoth's trunk, ears, tail, and even a prehensile tip of its trunk, which it could have used to grab grass, was still intact, making it one of the most well-preserved Ice Age creatures ever discovered in North America. The baby mammoth was believed to have been only about a month old when she died, possibly getting stuck in the mud while grazing in the treeless grasslands of the Yukon, a region that was once part of the vast Ice Age landscape. The frozen permafrost in the area acted as a natural preservative, not only keeping the soft tissue like skin and hair intact, but also offering vital information about the mammoth's DNA, which could provide new insights into the ancient world. Scientists and geologists recovered the mammoth from the Yukon Geological Survey and the University of Calgary, who worked with miners to carefully transport it for further study. But this breakthrough captivated more than just scientists. It also brought together the Trondek-Hwechin First Nation, the indigenous people of the area who have a long and deep connection to the land. When the remains were retrieved, a ceremony was held with elders from the community, and the mammoth was named Nun Choga, an act that symbolized the respectful acknowledgement of the creature's place in the area. Gold in the Abitibi. In 1906, in the quiet wilderness of Quebec, two men stood by the shores of Lac Fortune, their boots sinking slightly into the damp earth. Alphonse Ollier and Auguste Renaud had spent years scouring the land, their eyes trained on something most people would never notice: a glint, a shimmer, a sign that something precious lay beneath their feet. And then there it was, a vein of gold nestled within the rugged greenstone of the Abitibi region. For centuries, Canada had been known for its beaver pelts, timber, and fur trade, but this discovery hinted at something greater, a hidden wealth that could transform the country's future. Yet, despite the significance of Ollier and Renault's findings, the world barely took notice. The wilderness remained untouched, and the discovery quietly faded into the background. Then, in 1909, the Earth gave up another secret. Farther west, deep in the forests of northern Ontario, a group of prospectors stumbled upon a dome-shaped rock formation that would change everything. Beneath its surface lay a massive deposit of gold, so rich, so pure, that it set off an explosion of fortune seekers from across the country. The Porcupine Gold Rush had begun. Almost overnight, thousands of miners flooded into the region, determined to stake their claim in what was quickly becoming one of the most significant gold finds in North America. As the years passed, the fever for gold never faded. More discoveries followed, stretching across the Abitibi Greenstone Belt into areas like Kirkland Lake, Val-d'Or, Rouyn-Noranda, and Detour Lake. Some miners struck it rich, while others left empty-handed. But one thing was clear: the Abitibi was far from finished giving up its treasures. The lost tectonic plate. Beneath the vast wilderness of northern Canada, a secret lay buried for millions of years, a missing piece of Earth's restless history. For decades, geologists have puzzled over the ancient volcanic activity that scarred the landscape from Alaska to Washington state. Theories swirled, but one question remained. What had fueled these ancient eruptions? Two known tectonic plates, Kula and Farallon, dominated the Pacific region 60 million years ago. But something didn't add up. Volcanic remnants appeared far east of where these plates should have influenced activity. Some researchers dismissed the anomaly, insisting that no third plate ever existed. Others theorized that if it had, it must have long since sunk into the Earth's mantle, lost to time. Then, a team of geologists from the University of Houston made a breakthrough. Using cutting-edge 3D mapping technology, they essentially unfolded the movement of ancient tectonic plates, reconstructing a detailed image of the Pacific as it looked in the early Cenozoic era. And there it was, the missing plate. They named it Resurrection. The newly mapped plate fit perfectly with the puzzle of ancient volcanic belts, aligning with the very regions that had perplexed scientists for years. The wood frog? The wood frog, a remarkable species native to northern regions like Alaska and Canada, has evolved an extraordinary survival strategy in the face of extreme cold. Unlike most frogs, which hibernate underwater, wood frogs endure sub-zero temperatures by freezing solid in winter. This astonishing ability is due to their liver producing large amounts of glucose, which prevents ice from forming inside their cells and damaging their organs. During the long, harsh winters of the boreal forest, temperatures can plunge as low as -50 degrees Fahrenheit, and the wood frog's body becomes a frosty lump with no heartbeat, movement, or respiration. Despite this, the frog remains alive in a state of suspended animation. When spring arrives and the frog thaws, its heart starts beating, the brain activates and it resumes movement, unscathed by the freezing conditions that would prove fatal to most other animals. Scientists find this survival mechanism fascinating, as it could have medical applications. Understanding how the wood frog tolerates extreme blood sugar levels could offer insights into managing diabetes, and its freezing abilities could aid in improving organ preservation for transplants. The wood frog's remarkable ability to survive freezing winters without damage continues to captivate researchers and nature enthusiasts alike. The Lost Continent. Deep beneath Baffin Island, geologists searching for diamonds uncovered something far more valuable, a missing piece of Earth's ancient history. The rock samples analyzed by scientists at the University of British Columbia revealed the signature of the North Atlantic Craton, an ancient continental fragment. This discovery expanded its known size by 10%, proving the continent stretched farther than previously thought. Unlike past studies, which relied on shallow rock samples, these kimberlites originated 200 kilometers below the surface, offering an unprecedented look into Earth's deep past. For the first time, scientists could study the very mantle where continents formed, unlocking new insights into the planet's evolution. What began as a search for diamonds had unearthed something even rarer, the key to a deeper understanding of Earth's ancient foundations. The mysterious disappearance of the Inuit village. In 1930, a report surfaced about the sudden and unexplained disappearance of an Inuit village near Lake Anjikuni in the remote wilderness of Manitoba. The story was first chronicled in a news article written by Emmett E. Kelleher for the Danville Bee on November 27, 1930. According to the report, a well-known fur trapper named Joe LaBelle arrived at the village, which had always been hospitable to passing trappers. However, when LaBelle arrived, he found the village abandoned, with no sign of the villagers. What made this disappearance even more disturbing were the details LaBelle discovered. Unfinished clothing still had needles in it, food hung over fire pits as if it had been left in haste, and most alarmingly, 7 sled dogs had starved to death. In addition to these unsettling scenes, LaBelle found a grave that had been dug up, its contents disturbed. Upon further inspection, he noted that the surrounding stones remained undisturbed, suggesting that an animal had not been responsible for the grave's disturbance. LaBelle claimed to have reported his findings to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, RCMP. Though no official RCMP record of an investigation exists, no confirmed evidence has ever been found to verify the disappearance. The story quickly captured the public's imagination, and was republished in several other newspapers and books, including Frank Edwards' 1959 book, Stranger Than Science. The hybrid of polar and grizzly bears. The grizzly polar bear hybrid, also known as the growler bear, is a rare hybrid that results from the mating of a grizzly bear and a polar bear. This hybrid has been found both in captivity and in the wild, with the first confirmed case occurring in 2006 when a bear was shot near Sax Harbor, Northwest Territories. DNA testing revealed the bear had a polar bear mother and a grizzly bear father. Scientists speculate that these hybrids are becoming more common due to changes in the environment. As grizzly populations expand northward, grizzlies are coming into contact with polar bears, particularly as the Arctic warms. One theory is that as grizzly males emerge from hibernation earlier than females, they may mate with female polar bears, leading to hybridization. Another factor may be the expansion of grizzly territories, causing them to hunt seals, further increasing their interaction. Following the 2006 discovery, more hybrid bears were identified. In 2010, another hybrid was shot near Victoria Island, with DNA confirming its mixed ancestry. Between 2012 and 2014, 6 more hybrids were either killed by hunters or captured for study, confirming both first-generation 50-50 and backcross 75-25 hybrids 18. Although hybridization between the two species had been speculated before, the 2006 discovery marked the first documented case in the wild. Climate change and habitat overlap are believed to be significant contributors to the increasing occurrence of these hybrids. Lost ships of the Franklin expedition. The Franklin expedition, led by Captain Sir John Franklin in 1845, embarked on a perilous journey to navigate the Northwest Passage aboard 2 ships, HMS Erebus and HMS Terror. Both vessels were equipped for Arctic exploration, with Erebus serving as the flagship and commanded by James Fitzjames, while Terror was commanded by Captain Francis Crozier. The expedition sought to map the final unexplored sections of the Northwest Passage and collect key magnetic data for navigation. However, the mission met with disaster when the ships became icebound in Victoria Strait near King William Island in the Canadian Arctic. Despite efforts to escape, both ships were eventually abandoned in 1848 after over a year of being trapped in ice. The crew of 129 men, including Franklin, faced harsh conditions, resulting in the deaths of many, including Franklin himself. Although the Erebus and Terror failed in their primary mission, they did explore the Arctic region and were later discovered in the 21st century. In 2014, Parks Canada found the wreck of Erebus, and 2 years later, the Arctic Research Foundation located the wreck of Terror. These sites are now protected as National Historic Sites, preserving the legacy of the ill-fated expedition. The Viking Settlement. The Viking settlement in Canada, particularly at L'Anse aux Meadows in Newfoundland, marks the first known European presence in North America, established around the early 11th century CE. Archaeological evidence from this site, discovered in 1961, reveals the remains of a small Norse encampment believed to have served as a base for further exploration into the lands of Vinland. This settlement is the only verified Norse site in North America, confirmed through excavations by Anne Stein Ingstad. The Vikings, seeking new land and resources, began their westward expansion in the late 9th century from Scandinavia, eventually settling in Iceland and later Greenland. Their journey to Canada was facilitated by expeditions that followed the Labrador Current, leading them to the northeastern coast of Canada. The Viking presence was brief, with the Norse encountering indigenous peoples or Skraelings along their travels. While there is no direct evidence of conflict at L'Anse aux Meadows, later interactions in Vinland were marked by both peaceful and hostile encounters. This short-lived Norse venture into Canada remains a significant historical and archaeological milestone, shedding light on early European exploration of the Americas. Mysterious deep-water fish. A Nova Scotia fisherman recently encountered a mysterious deep-water fish while on a fishing trawler off Newfoundland. Scott Tanner and his crew hauled up a long-nosed chimera, a rare and otherworldly species often found at extreme ocean depths. With its long pointed snout, neon green eyes and ribbed wing-like fins, the fish appeared strikingly unusual, even to experienced fishermen who'd seen only 1 or 2 in their lifetimes. Tanner, who originally shared photos of the creature on his social media, later identified it as a long-nosed chimera, a species of cartilaginous fish from a group that diverged from sharks 400 million years ago. The fish, named by a UK tabloid as a winged fish with evil eyes, was found at a depth of several hundred meters in waters off the Grand Banks and Saint-Pierre and Miquelon. Sadly, due to pressure changes, the chimera died shortly after being hauled up, and it was eventually discarded back into the ocean. Although the long-nosed chimeras are known to feed on shrimp and crabs and pose no threat to humans, sightings of them remain rare, making Tanner's encounter a notable event in the world of marine exploration. These discoveries have sparked even more questions among scientists, and their true significance is still being uncovered. Could this reshape our understanding of the world? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating discoveries.